Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my channel. In this video, I'm gonna go over the 5 pros and cons of living in Kelowna, at least from my perspective. And make sure you stay tuned into the end of the video as I'm gonna go over a bonus point that you do not want to miss. For those that don't know me, my name is Matt Ranger, and while I don't claim to be an expert on all things, I definitely know this town because I've lived here for 98% of my life. I moved away to Calgary before I realized that was a little bit of a mistake. No offense, Calgary. Anyways, let's dive in. Okay, so the first pro for living in Kelowna is that we're a 4 seasons playground. In fact, I'd argue it's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that people choose to move to Kelowna. We're literally Canada's best 4 seasons playground. In Kelowna, you can ski, boat, and golf in the same day. Not every day, but there are days, trust me, it happens. My personal favorite activities include golf, which I'm terrible at, and camping, which is a great activity that I love to do with my family. If you want to go more rugged, there's tons of options up in the boonies, or if you want to go a little bit more glamping style where you got your own personal toilet, like my wife prefers, lots of options as well. Kelowna is one of Canada's warmest destinations. It's no surprise. In July and August, we reach temperatures into the upper 30s, sometimes into the 40s. Personally, not my favorite. And then in the winter, it's not so cold either, really. I mean, hovering around 0 degrees beyond that 1 week cold snap we usually get in January where you hit minus 15. It sucks, I hate it, but we get through it and then we move on. And the rest of the year is great. Okay, so the first recreational facility I'm gonna talk about here are our ski mountains. Now, a bit of a disclaimer here, I'm not much of a winter guy, but what I will say is that if you're determined to live in Canada and you hate the winter like me, well, you might as well move to Kelowna. In town, it's not super cold and we don't get a ton of snow, but if you take a brief 45-minute drive up the hill, you'll find one of Canada's best ski resorts. In fact, in 2019, it was voted Canada's 3rd best ski resort. And we're coming for number 1 and number 2. What I'm talking about is Big White Ski Resort. Suffice it to say, it's a great hill. There's a lot of terrain, a lot of variety. If you want to go easy or you want to go hard, there's something for everybody. The snow is affectionately referred to as champagne powder. It's obviously great too. But also if you get bored of Big White, which I don't know why you would, there's a lot of runs, a lot of terrain, there's plenty of ski hills nearby with just a short drive. The second recreational facility I'm going to talk about here is not even man-made. It's Okanagan Lake. So if this is the first time you've heard of Kelowna, then you might not know what that is, but we're literally attached to the hip to Okanagan Lake. If you have heard of Kelowna, then this isn't news to you. So you might be saying, Matt, why are you wasting my time talking about this? I already know about the lake. Well, let me answer your question with a story. Many years ago, when I was younger and less bald, I decided, like most young people who've spent their entire life in their hometown, to hell with Kelowna. I'm getting out of here, and I'm moving to Calgary. Now, Calgary is a great city, but it only took snow in June for me to realize that there is a reason why Albertans flock to Kelowna. So, Calgary was great and there was lots to do, but I always felt like I had to go and do something or spend money to have a good time. While I lived in Calgary at that time, my much smarter wife, Andrea, we weren't married at the time, stayed back because she was training to complete her first Ironman in Penticton that summer. And let's be honest, she was hoping I'd changed my mind on Calgary. So experiencing snow in the summer and wanting to decompress on weekends, I do what a lot of Albertans did and spent my summer weekends in Kelowna. When I'd arrive here, rather than rushing out and feeling like I needed to be doing something, I found all I needed was a lawn chair, a couple of cold beers, and the lake, and I'd instantly arrived exactly where I wanted to be. For me, the lake brings a sort of chillness to life. You don't need to do flashy, complicated activities here to get that zestful life that people are looking for. You don't even need a boat, although, let's be honest, that really is the best way to spend your time on the lake. Just grab your chair though, grab a couple adult beverages, park yourself on the beach, and you've arrived. For the record, I'm not condoning public drinking. I'm not responsible. Okay, so we've talked about winter, we've talked about summer, now we're gonna talk about a little thing I like to call the shoulder seasons, otherwise known as spring and fall. Now, the activities I'm gonna talk about are activities that you do when it's just a little too cold to be in the lake. I'm gonna go over a few of my personal favorites, but suffice it to say there's tons of things to do in Kelowna. Without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so let's start off with parks. Now, my personal favorite is Knox Mountain. And the reason why is because when you live in a beautiful place like Kelowna, unfortunately it can be easy to take it for granted. But when you hike up Knox Mountain, you get one of the best vistas of the city and lake. And even when you're dead inside, like me, it's hard not to appreciate the city's beauty. It's also a perfect circuit for a workout. If you're hustling, it's about 20 minutes to the top, but if you're more casual hiker, it's going to be more like a 30-minute climb. The whole thing takes anywhere from 40 minutes to a little over an hour, and one of mine and Andrea's favorite pastimes before we had kids was to climb Knox and then go for breakfast afterwards. Bohemian has a great breakfast. The trail isn't really treacherous, but it's not great for kids under the age of 7. But overall, it's a very approachable climb for anyone who's looking to get a great shot of Kelowna and experience the Okanagan lifestyle. Now, one of my personal favorite activities to do, which can change depending on the day, is golf. Now, there are over 19 full-length golf courses in Kelowna alone. And if you're willing to take a 45-minute drive at max, you can find like umpteen more. Needless to say, there's no reason for you ever to get bored playing golf, and there's always great deals for locals. The third thing I'm going to talk about here is a little pastime I like to do with my wife Andrea, and that includes visiting wineries in the area. Now, I'm sure you've heard about Okanagan wine, but if not, you should dabble. The Okanagan Valley is internationally recognized at this point for producing delicious wines that can appeal to all palates. Red, white, rosé, it's all here. If wine isn't your thing, then check out the thriving microbrewery scene. There are tons of breweries in Kelowna's North End, and there seem to be more popping up every year. And if you're a dog lover like me, the good news is that they're dog friendly, as they should be. This segues actually perfectly into my next pro for Kelowna, which is the food scene. Now, while I hate the term, I am a foodie. And I also spent nearly a decade of my life in the restaurant industry before I got into real estate. And while I'm many years removed from that now, the food and beverage industry still holds an important place in my heart. What I think makes Kelowna's food and beverage industry so great, though, are two main reasons: variety and quality. So as for variety goes, if you're looking for a hip place, you've got B&A, which offers craft beers, delicious food, great atmosphere, and even bowling. If you're looking for a great place to eat vegan food, check out Frankie We Salute You. Want to go somewhere a little bit more upscale that utilizes local ingredients in the Okanagan? Visit Rod's. Want delicious butter chicken? You got DeWatt. Mexican, Korean, French, even Brazilian. Small, independent, or large chain, there's so many great restaurants you could never get bored and never run out of quality options in Kelowna. Okay, so we've talked quantity, let's talk quality. Before Kelowna was known as a destination city for vacationing, its roots were grounded in the agricultural industry. The perfect combination of hot semi-arid climate, rich soils, and mild winters made for perfect growing conditions for growing fruit, vegetables, and even raising stock. Restaurant owners in the Okanagan have access to so much locally, they can create their entire menus based off strictly local ingredients. All right, so let's talk about pro point number 4, and that is that we have big city amenities without the big city. First off, let's talk about Kelowna International Airport. With over 70 daily non-stop flights with over 9 airlines, YLW is Canada's 10th busiest airport and is great for short hauls to places like Vancouver, but also offers direct flights to more distant Caribbean destinations such as Mexico. The next major amenity we need to talk about is Kelowna General Hospital. It's actually one of Western Canada's largest hospitals with 700 beds. And not only is KGH important for local people who need special care and attention, but it's also a huge economic driver for our community. In addition to KGH, we have UBC Okanagan. The addition of the UBC Okanagan campus in Kelowna bolstered our already respectable education system. Previously home only to OUC, otherwise known as OC, Okanagan College, Kelowna now is home to one of Canada's top 3 universities. Keep in mind that all these amenities and more are available in a city that requires next to no travel time. There are a number of amenities I could include, but suffice it to say, Kelowna has a lot for a city of its size. What is truly amazing though is that you don't have to contend with hour-long commutes to get to where you want to go. During the peak of summer when tourism is at its absolute highest, travel can get a little congested, but even then it takes no longer than 30 minutes to get from the furthest northern tip of the city to the furthest southern end. Okay, so pro point number 5 for Kelowna has to be our growing business and job sector. Decades past, Kelowna got a bad rap for being a city without quality paying jobs. Thankfully, this has changed, especially in the last decade. With the addition of our UBC Okanagan campus, newly thriving IT industry, growing hospital, steady influx of entrepreneurs looking for Kelowna lifestyle, and ever-growing construction industry, Kelowna offers a variety of jobs for a variety of skill sets. In fact, Kelowna is ranked 3rd overall in BMO's Regional Labor Market Report Card for its job market performance. If I did my job right, explaining the benefits, then you should be feeling pretty good about our city right now. The thing is, you're not alone. Lots of people want to move here. In fact, in any given year, between 30 to 40% of people buying homes in our city are people moving from other cities. What I'm trying to say is the demand for Kelowna real estate is high. It's always high. Depending on what you're looking for, the prices can also be extremely high. This goes for rentals too, whether you're buying or renting. It's just the nature of the beast, that when you want to live in a city as great as Kelowna, that other people also want to live in, the costs are unfortunately going to be steep. Okay, so the next negative I'm going to talk about here is that Kelowna can be a little bit laid back at times. Things tend to move a little slower here than in bigger city centers. Comparatively speaking, there's a little bit more of a laid back West Coast approach to life. And people moving from bigger city centers can find it frustrating when some businesses don't operate here with the same frequency and urgency that they're used to. I currently have a situation I'm dealing with. I'm used to living this way, of course, and I've come to accept it, but it's taken 5 weeks for me to start the quote process to replace the sliding door in my own home. Now, I choose to be loyal to the companies that I prefer in town. I could call another one, but if you want to work with specific companies, you have to learn to be patient in town. Okay, so the next topic I'm going to discuss is a little bit of a sensitive one, and that has to do with homelessness and addiction. Now, obviously, you and I know that this is not something that is unique just to Kelowna. However, it is not one that we are spared from either. The good news is that Kelowna as a community is very sympathetic to our most vulnerable population, and we're working hard every year on helping to lift these people from where they are today. Now, this is largely something that we notice in the downtown core, and it is not spread throughout Kelowna. The thing that is important to remember is that if we approach this from a position of compassion and care, we stand a lot better chance to get ahead of it. Okay, the next negative I'm going to talk about has to do with the entertainment scene in Kelowna, and it's unfortunately a little bit weak. If you're looking for great pubs and breweries to check out, obviously plenty of options, but if you're looking for something a little bit extra, Kelowna's still a little bit small in that regard. Now, to be honest, between Prospera Place in Kelowna and the South Okanagan Event Center, 30 to 45 minutes depending on how fast you drive, in Penticton, we actually get some pretty decent shows and entertainment, but not at the level of other cities. The good news? Just hop on a quick flight to Vancouver, and in less than an hour, you're there. You can watch all the shows you want, and then you can head back home. Okay, on to my next and final and definitely least favorite part about living in Kelowna, and that has to do with our gray winter weather. While it's nice, sunny, and beautiful here during the spring, summer, and fall, obviously the majority of the year, the winter weather can be depressing. While we don't get a lot of rain and we don't get a lot of snow, there are weeks that can go by without a shed of sunlight. Now, there's a great fix to this, and something I choose to do, which is to pop up to one of the ski hills and get above the clouds that naturally settle into the valley. Alternatively, though, you're gonna need to stock up on vitamin D, which is not a bad idea anyways, and buy yourself a light therapy lamp to beat off the winter blues. Okay, so on to my bonus point, and that is Kelowna is a very stable place to live. The reason being is that when the Canadian economy is doing well, Kelowna does well. But even when the Canadian economy isn't doing so well, Kelowna still fares better than pretty well most of Canada. The reason being is obvious. Kelowna is an attraction and destination city for a lot of people. Many Canadians come here to retire or get away from bigger city centers like Vancouver or Toronto, and these people are often business people bringing work and opportunities to the valley, or just retirees looking to get out and enjoy themselves, which helps to keep things moving as well. While Kelowna may not be the cheapest place to live in Canada, it is a city with plenty of opportunity for the people that live here. Well, that's it, guys. I hope I've given you some value here and offered you some insight you didn't have before. There's obviously so much more to discuss about Kelowna, depending on what your specific interests are. If you're planning to move here and there's anything you'd like answered which I haven't mentioned here, please comment on my video or shoot me a message and I'd be happy to get you an answer. I love helping people move to our community and would love to be a part of your relocation journey. For more videos like this each week, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you again for watching.